Riddle me this, Batman. If Joe Biden was so hesitant to use executive action to shut down the border, why is he now considering executive action to grant amnesty for like 1.1 million illegals?
This would benefit, rather, the unauthorized immigrant spouses of U.S. citizens, and it would allow them, one, to work in the U.S. legally, two, to also live here legally, but three, and most importantly, to potentially have a new path to green card status and ultimately U.S. citizenship. And that is because under current law, people who enter the country illegally, John, cannot apply for green card status based on a sponsorship from their spouse.
It's law, but he's going to use executive privilege to just violate that law. I mean, like, this is crazy, especially on the back of this news, where 8 people who came from a country that like 90% of Americans, I would be willing to wager, have never heard of, that were on a terrorist watch list, and yet we're told that they were vetted at the southern border within the last year. They were just let in. And they've been running around America just free and clear because this administration doesn't give a damn. And then we hear that they were on the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force radar. I mean, really? FBI, your radar's broken, apparently. But this is the problem. I've been warning you about this with this intel collection, this mass intel collection. The federal government collects so much intelligence on so many people, and they're not very intelligent with it, but Fourth Amendment be damned. They collect so much intel that they can't even sift through it properly, and they can't actually vet the bad guys because they're too busy collecting intel and investigating parents for domestic terrorism because they don't want their children wearing face masks in school or learning about sexual positions in a book read to them by some freak show drag queen. And on top of that, there are so many jurisdictions by so many different agencies over the same thing, and each one is just like beating its own chest, and none of them share intelligence with each other. And while they're engaged in this like machismo contest about who can fed harder, we're just letting terrorists roam right in. They just have their way with the country. They can prepare for God knows what. And when something does happen, all the Fed boys jump in. They write a letter or a bunch of reports claiming that they were monitoring the situation and these people were known to us. That's real solace to a bunch of people whose family members were killed or got their limbs blown off while you were knowing about stuff and doing nothing about it. Kind of like the Sarnov brothers from Chechnya, the Boston bombers that did it with a pressure cooker. Our agencies were also warned about them by Russia. They were also on a terrorist watch list, the same terrorist watch list that, as of 6 months ago, had ballooned to over 2 million people. And this goes exactly to my point. Why are we watching 2 million people and doing nothing about it? Watching. This administration is affording more rights to people on the terrorist watch list than they were for me because I didn't want to wear a mask during COVID. And their excuse is always the same thing, which is exactly what I'm pointing out. How can they possibly monitor everyone on that watch list? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, look, the FBI's got like 37,000 people working for them. What else are they doing over there? What do they do all day? And this is why I don't think that these agencies are worth the paper that they're printed on. They're more interested in hiring 87,000 more IRS agents, who, by the way, would have lethal authority and can reach into your bank account without a warrant. All just to make sure that a waitress files tips on her next tax return so they can turn around and send $3.1 million of that on making sure Tunisians can resettle themselves in Tunisia and $12 million on a gender studies program in Pakistan. The only people better off under this administration are apparently immigrants. It's like, what I feel like? I feel like being like a cable subscriber. For the last 10 years, I've been a loyal payer, been handing over my dough at whatever the rate is every single month for 10 years. And all of a sudden, there's like this weird promotional deal where you can get it for like half the rate and you get 6 months free for the new people just joining the company. That's how I feel as an American citizen. I've been supporting this country with my life, with my tax dollars, and I come on here every night and fight for it. Most of these people who are coming into this country have no paper history whatsoever, and we can't vet them. They don't have fingerprints recorded somewhere. There's no DMV and whatever stand. Well, the first time they're getting something stamped on a piece of paper is when they come here to America. But sure, come on in. In fact, a recent analysis just showed that 75% of American job growth went to migrants. Not Americans, went to migrants, mostly migrants that are not coming here to prop up our economy, but rather to send money back to their families in their country where they came from. The money's not even getting spent here. That is the money we know about. And what's it going to take? What is it going to take for people to realize that our immigration system does not function to benefit America? It does not function to benefit Americans. Maybe this is what the administration wants. Well, actually, it is what the administration wants. I'm subscribing more and more to the notion that politics, especially on the Democrat side of the aisle, is a sport of telling everybody that there's something wrong, that everybody's oppressed, but then not doing anything about it. It's almost like they need this problem to run on. Many voters that are already here recognize this as an issue. But there's a ton of people that are just unwilling to change their vote on it. And I can't for the life of me understand why. Democrats will never solve this problem, folks. They just won't. They'll say they will. And if you think this unmitigated mass migration is like a good thing, let me pose a question to you. What do you think these people are here for? You think a bunch of illegals from random places came over here for SNAP benefits and food stamps? Some of them may have. But I'm sure that some of these people who relocated from whateveristan to go to Philadelphia, they did it because of the cheesesteaks and the scenery. Really? You believe that? For a better life? From Turkmenistan or wherever they're from? And many times, they're not even hiding it. These people are like out in our streets burning the American flag. On our own intelligence agencies have admitted that they're not even monitoring these things. And yet, the same intelligence agencies are identifying people who were at the Capitol on Jan 6 4 years later by like the creases in their ears for prosecution. Hey, let's get our priorities straight, people. These people are here to do something. And when they do, if you voted for Democrat, I don't care how nice a guy or gal you are, you're just as responsible as Joe Biden and all of his Democrat cronies. You're part of the problem. Not sorry about that. How many times do we have to have a public event blown up by a pressure cooker? How many planes do we have to have hit towers? How many people do we have to have shoot up a gay nightclub? How long will we let Ilhan Omar's district be crowned the terrorist recruiting capital of America? What is it going to take? Does it have to be your elementary school with your kids in it that gets leveled by a terrorist attack? Does it have to be your water supply that gets poisoned or tainted? Or is it your train, bus, or plane being turned into a weapon or a missile? Before you wake up and realize that 50% of the world would probably sleep better knowing that we're all dead. You don't think the border is a problem? I sure do. And if you vote Democrat and something happens, I'm holding you accountable.